Take it away.
Okay, I will, before starting the images, I just want to thank everybody for joining me for this last final segment of Eyes Wide Open, Learning to Look in Order to See. And I want to thank the people who've made this possible. The Friends of your Westport Center for Senior Activities, Holly Betts, Sue Pfister, and Jason Wilson for inviting me once again to share my visual experiences and hopefully provide you with some visually stimulating experiences. So today we're going to look to see what can make you smile. And this explores a wide range of subjects and images that incorporate content, hopefully, that will make you smile upon discovering, in many cases, the unexpected. So I hope this will encourage you to take time to look around as you move through life, because if you're visually aware, you may encounter the unexpected. So I'm going to screen share and start the presentation. And hopefully we will not have any odd circumstances. So, as I've said before, keep your eyes wide open, because what is visually in sight may give you insight. And you could discover a world of visual interest. So this is what caught my eye and why. You could get more out of life if you pay attention, be visually aware, look around you. You might experience things you haven't seen before. Discover the unexpected, not the cliche. So keep your eyes wide open and become a focused pupil. So let's explore visually. What can make you? This is what I call visual humor. Eyes wide open. Remember to look in order to see. And as I've said, you may discover something new, like I did here. This I encountered in Mandalay, Myanmar, formerly Burma. And I thought, what is this duck gesturing for me to go and see? And how strange, in South Asia. Well, he said to me, follow the sign, go to the mask temple. But this mask temple was actually in Tikal, Guatemala. So he had quite a good vision. And this is where it led me. Yes, the masked queen before Halloween that I encountered in New Haven in a clothing store window. And this was a full-size cardboard cutout that the owner of the store put a COVID mask on. This one struck me as kind of humorous because this was in an airport. I was waiting to get my ticket at the counter, and I ran up against a glass wall with a do not enter symbol. If you can't get through the glass, how can you stand here? Which it asked me to do. So I gave up. And it could have knocked my socks off, but it didn't. This was a holy experience. It was actually my granddaughter's foot quite a few years ago. And my grandson about 10 years ago at the Mass MoCA Museum up in Massachusetts. And they were having an exhibit, which they still do, of Saul LeWitt's wonderful geometric creations. And I said to Joshua, get a leg up on it. So he tried to climb the stairs. And then here is a root to a vegetable. This is the rutabaga in Disney World. Or in Disney World, they have a cemetery. And here's where Poltergeist is buried. Of course, Poltergeist is a demonic ghost. But that's not all. Here you have clairvoyance. Of course, if you have clairvoyance, you're able to see things others can't. But it was a little too late for this Claire. And then I discovered what might be the real clairvoyance. But she was in Tokyo, Japan. And I thought she owned this pension, Mind Games. And I thought, I don't think I want to stay there. She might be meddling with my mind. And one of my favorite experiences on the wall in a little cafe in Bend, Oregon. We don't have Wi-Fi. Talk to each other. And here on my general practitioner's wall in his office, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. And of course, Camels likes that because, as you can see, they're costlier tobaccos. That may help pay for your mental and physical, say, recovery from the experience of smoking Camels. And this made me chuckle. I saw this in Japan at a dental practice. And I thought that was kind of cute. And then I saw something more serious. It was supposed to be a joke. Datura extract. Well, I knew what Datura was, but I didn't know it was actually a hallucinogenic plant. And at Disney World, they were unloading this joke. And in Florida, I saw this license plate, Godzilla. And I figured it was the car of a religious right driver. And of course, this is the real Godzilla, actually, a sea iguana in the Galapagos Islands. And of course, glorious Godzilla from the movies. Now, what's coming over this roof? Well, it's the New England pest control bug. It's been there since the 1960s. And I got a kick out of this. Fly boutique, feel unique. Bangkok Air. Did you know elephants had wings? Well, this is the logo for an Asian airline. How would you feel seeing this on your way out of an airport in Chile, South America? Good luck. Or here in Martinique, in the Caribbean. Yeah, danger. Jet blast of departing and arriving aircraft can cause severe physical harm, resulting in extreme bodily harm and or death. Oh, I said, I wanted to fly my drone, and it said, this is a no-fly zone for a drone. Now, all you guys out there should probably have one of these t-shirts. Dads against daughters dating. Or perhaps you'd enjoy this. Sparkling people, underage. Well, it says underage, but I read it as underage, for underage people drinking. Well, these are overaged people, but they're not drinking. Now, all you women out there, you have an opportunity to catch up with men. You can get stylish mustaches, especially for girls, one for every day of the week. And you'll notice they're in the pink. But if you're a guy, you can try some of these mustaches. Well, I asked my grandson if he was interested some years ago when he was about 6 years old. And I showed him this boy man in Japan. Be ambitious like an old man. Well, he was thinking about it. I bought him a t-shirt with all kinds of mustaches. He hadn't made up his mind. And then all of a sudden, bingo. Yeah, macho. Then I saw this sign that made me chuckle. South America. And when I looked up, this apartment house had balconies, but who would have thought somebody would plant a palm tree on a balcony on the top floor? How about this? Don't hurt me, help your planet. Yes, this is in Valparaiso, Chile, where it's an art community and they're recycling their Coca-Cola bottles, making planters. My initial view of these warning signs made me chuckle. Where in the United States would you see signs like this? Be careful, there might be a kangaroo hopping out in front of your car, or an emu, or maybe even, yeah, a echidna. So you see these in the outback. Yep, that's an emu in Tasmania. He was giving me a look of scrutiny. Here's a humorous door in Valparaiso, Chile, where the artists are encouraged to paint on the buildings and on the doors. But here is a 72-hour parking zone, and this bird had been there 3 hours without moving. And I thought, well, he's got a few hours to go, but he's going to get a ticket. I'd been fishing with my grandkids off a wharf, and I thought, oh, when we're done, he'll be gone, but he wasn't. How about this? An animated bird sculpture. Make an interesting drone. And here, Wings with a Book and Rockefeller Center. That was on exhibit for about a year in 2018. Read and it will take you to wondrous places. Now, these pelicans are smiling, all of them, in a remote area on the Indian Ocean coast of Australia. When you look at a smile like that, it makes you want to smile. But this one's a little different. I photographed this from quite some distance using a 300mm telephoto lens. This was on the side of a cathedral in Santiago, Chile. And then I noticed the water goddess was pouring water on someone's head, or at least that's what it looked like. That was nothing, because the Pope statue was being soiled by locals. I was walking along a pathway some months ago and I saw this and I thought, oh my gosh, it looks like a little white mouse. But then I realized it's actually the seed from a cottonwood tree. And it was only a little twig that looked like its tail. But these are real guinea pigs in Cuzco, Peru, in an antique original dwelling where cooking is done in one corner and the floor is dirt. And when the little guinea pigs are hungry, they just come on in and help themselves with the food droppings. And about an hour after I saw this, I went to a home-hosted meal in Peru, and guess what they were serving? Yes, grilled guinea pig for lunch. Pollo campero, or country chicken as it's known in Guatemala. Very cute and welcoming. And so in El Salvador, Chicken Little. Something kind of cute about it. This isn't cute, but you may find it humorous. In Newburyport, Massachusetts, there was a store selling all kinds of bacon flavored and bacon odored products under the brand name Archie McPhee. Now here you have a body wash, and if you'll notice, it says smell bacon fresh. Or you could go to adhesive bandages if you cut yourself, and it's soak infused with sweet perfume bacon. On a very different experience, in the Torres del Paine National Park in Chile, I saw this warning. If you encounter a puma, stay calm. Be wary and do not run. Fleeing may trigger an attack. Respect their space. Do not corner them. Leave the area, which I did immediately. And as I turned around, I saw this. Dead guanaco, a small cameloid, obviously had been consumed by a puma. This sculpture was seen on the Day of the Dead in New Mexico. This is part of the celebration on November 1st to November 2nd each year, and it has an Aztec origin, honoring the dead, welcoming back the family, the ancestors. And you see all kinds of things that do that. How would you like a ceramic tile like this in your kitchen? Or a deadhead. This gal looks very uplifted with her bright, colorful hat. Now, in Valparaiso, Chile, as I mentioned, they paint their walls and doors. It is an artist colony, essentially, and people are encouraged to decorate in any way they like. The government gives them paint to do so. So as you walk down the street, you never know who is looking at you or who is sitting on a ledge on the wall. Here is an encapsulated couple, a door painting on a garage, and on a walkway down a hill, right on the steps. We are not hippies, we are happies. And as I was walking along a step, I see ants everywhere. An artist decided to paint ants on all the steps in the city. How about this? Fantastic wall characters. It reminded me of Dr. Seuss. Now, this was quite an experience. On my first trip to Valparaiso in 2006, I saw this wall painting. I went back in 2013, and he was still there with the same smile, and his glass was still full. This guy looked like he was saying, "Does that car run?" A wall painting, and it happened to be behind a car that was abandoned. Catch Me If You Can, another wall painting with a little kid smirking behind a mask. and the Big Blue Rooster and Kids at the National Gallery in Washington, D.C. That was my grandson about 8 years ago. And a little 4-year-old on a red ball in Santiago, Chile. He was chuckling and he was just sitting there, and it was really cute. And my grandson, when he was 4 years old, on his first horse ride. Now talk about horses. This horse is having a bad hair day. Take a look at that. This is an Icelandic horse, a special breed. The smirking cat ran when I saw it. Beware of incoming tides. I don't know why I found this humorous, but it could be because the character's arms were up in the air, almost looked like he was having fun. Now, these are moai. These are on the base of the historic Easter Island moai, or ancestor figures. And what struck me as being unusual, they were actually laughing. I didn't find it very humorous. These guys are serious. Now, all of these characters are in bed together. Well, that's what I thought. But it turns out the vendor was actually covering up jewelry that he was selling with these masks. And this little one had Tanaka on its forehead. This was at a wedding in Myanmar, in Mandalay. And they put Tanaka on themselves as both a sunblocker and cosmetic. It's made from a log that is ground up with water and put on their faces. Now here, have a heart. It's a stoplight. And the heart is a symbol of love and caring in Akureyri, Iceland. On all the windows of the houses are hearts. And on all the traffic lights, red hearts too. Now these are unique postal boxes, recycled appliances on Kangaroo Island off the south coast of Australia. So when you're done with your microwave or your hair dryer or your clothes dryer, put them out, let them have another service. Like this one in Akureyri, Iceland, free brainwash. The artist was recycling a clothes dryer or washer. Now this, I thought, was kind of strange, and I kind of chuckled when I saw it out on the desert, Nevada. It's, it's a light bulb, but it has a Coke bottle covering it to protect it, I guess, from moisture. Now, this is the place to go for a few chuckles and wonderment. Roswell, New Mexico. The UFO Museum and Research Center. An out of this world experience. I highly encourage it. And on the side of the building, being or be in touch. And here is an alien sculpture at the Massachusetts Museum of Contemporary Art. And here's a real little green alien. That was my trophy from Roswell, New Mexico. A little creepy, huh? Well, so was this mural in Antigua, Guatemala. Nobody could explain it to me, but it looked alien. Now, what are these guys all looking at? They're on the windowsill of a private home in Iceland. So I figured, well, they must be looking at something. And I thought, well, maybe you should look at this. These are workers on a building in Sydney, Australia. So I thought maybe that's what they're looking up at. They would have foresight if they did. Now, Bimbo, a vendor sign and a mascot. And I thought, how strange. This was in Tikal, Guatemala. But Bimbo, I researched out, is the largest bakery in the world. It has 155 plants all over the world in 22 countries and brand names that you will recognize, like Sara Lee or Arnold's or Entenmann's. Now, this guy is knee-high and busted. That's my little grandson years ago. Put his knees under his shirt at lunchtime. And I said, well, maybe you ought to go to the sanitarios in Antigua, Guatemala. Or you could just stay here in Connecticut and call Finkelty Septic. Well, you got to call them regularly. Well, yeah. But they have lots of garbage cans looking at you. You better put your garbage here. And I saw this in Japan. It was a character on the horns of a dilemma. I was the character because I couldn't figure out what he did. Now, this is my Dalai Lama. I bought him as a trophy in Chile, South America, where llamas live. And he was a very healthy choice because he was carrying on his back quinoa and lentils, healthy, natural food. So that was my Dalai Lama. Now in Sicily, this statue was saying, what's on my head? Because he couldn't see. Maybe he felt it. Look at his eyes bulging. Now I saw this spooky character at sunset in Guatemala. And I thought, what is that? Looks like, yeah, it looks like a monk to me. And then at Longwood Gardens in Pennsylvania, I saw 3 of them. They looked like they were coming after me. And they don't go away. They show up in Guatemala too. Here are the 2 last ones I laid eyes on. So next time you see an outdoor umbrella, think monks. Now here is a small man in a big chair at the Krieger Museum in Westchester. How he got there, I don't know, but he must have been reading something that gave him levity. Now open, vacancy. Would you stay here in Death Valley? Or in Kanazawa, Japan, stay relaxed. Or you might need revive. Here, she was worn out and she needed that drink, but she was so tired, she couldn't finish it. And so in Akureyri, Iceland, sheep jumping, you're not disturbed. If you're counting sheep to fall asleep, the sheep might be jumping. Now, this fellow is teaching a class on Zoom. And I took a snapshot with my camera, and he didn't realize that his pointer was actually stuck on his nose. Now, this is a real organized librarian's desk. I'm not going to divulge the township, but this is a true desk of a librarian. I don't think he or she knows how to use the Dewey Decimal System. Now, I thought this was kind of cute. This was at the Museum of the Moving Image in Queens, New York. A lunchbox for children, circa 1978. And here is a C-3PO tape dispenser, also at the Museum of the Moving Image. Star Wars is very popular, so don't forget the head of Chewbacca. Now, this is the wedding of Darth Vader. Yes, on the Day of the Dead at Nob Hill, New Mexico, near Albuquerque. Woman, and she gave me a thumbs up. Yeah, she's gonna have a wedding with Darth Vader. And my grandson's birthday is on May 4th, which happens to be Star Wars Day. So to celebrate his birthday, I made a poster for him. Yeah, that's the dark side. Now, this is a woman taking it lying down, also on the Day of the Dead, Nob Hill, New Mexico. This is a mummified frog from my garage. A couple of summers ago, I drove in on a hot summer day and I saw this frog mummified on the floor, totally dried up. So I took it and put it on the window ledge to remind me to drink lots of water on a hot day. This is a real smiley face at the Yale Art Gallery. And the kid with the jacuzzi beard. Now, what are all these people looking at? These are hand-painted on a little motel in Valparaiso, Chile. Well, maybe they were looking at these dogs all lined up to do their thing. And then I saw another tree. I said, what is that? That looks like the largest millipede I've ever seen. That was at the Krieger Museum in Washington, D.C. I highly encourage you to visit there. It is in a remote area in the northwest of the city, owned by the founder of, yes, the founder of Geico Insurance Company. Now, these guys are at a Korean wedding, and they're just going around and around this sculpture at PepsiCo in Westchester. I thought, gee, maybe they're paying tribute to this alien-looking sculpture. And so what's he looking at? His sister, a child rabbit in your face. Now, this is going to take a little explaining. In Darwin, on the north coast of Australia, is a little theater, the Darwin Entertainment Center. And when I saw this, I thought, oh my gosh, that reminds me of the very famous book by the author Meg Gibbs. Back at the turn of the last century, she illustrated and wrote fairy tales based on botanical specimens found only in Australia. Snugglepot and Cuddlepie. This is one of her books, Little Ragged Blossom, and more about Snugglepot and Cuddlepie. Well, these little figures belonged in a collection of books by my mother, who happened to be born in, of all places, Perth, West Australia. And to this day, they're creating reprints of some of the stories. Wattle is a type of blossom, and they're yellow. And these little characters are created from wattles. He's having a good time. He's a geek. Whatever in Guatemala. Now this is for you. You'll remember this. A good lawyer knows the law. A great lawyer knows the judge. Now, would you have custom clothes made here? I don't think it's a good idea. Now, this is a Lenin sculpture on a rooftop in Lower Manhattan. Yep, that is a sculpture. And here, I've entitled this Raising Democracy, which we can all appreciate right now. This was on a weekend visit to Providence, Rhode Island, over a hole that we were digging for the foundation. And choosing democracy at National Harbor, Washington, D.C. A giant sculpture that I got under, and it looked to me like it was going to pick the flag off the pole. Now here is an actual photograph of President Harry Truman bowling in patent leather shoes and suit at the White House bowling alley. Okay. And I just got some technical help from Jason. I thank you. This is a bowling alley that President Truman actually built because he liked bowling. Now, would you like to shop here? Al's Alleged Antiques in California. Now, that's Matisse, concentrating on what? In Key West, Florida. Look who's on the balcony with binoculars. There they are. Now, these are sculptures by Seward Johnson, who passed away about 5 years ago, famous for his full-scale sculptures of people in natural settings. Here's what they're looking at. Matisse's sculpture, also by Seward Johnson, from the Johnson & Johnson pharmaceutical company, I might add. Now, men's fashion, gone to waste. Excuse me. How about a men's beauty salon in Japan? Or a guest laundry at a high-end hotel, Akiori, Iceland. How about this t-shirt? How many of you can relate to this? Key West, Florida. Help, I'm talking, and I can't shut up. Yeah, I told my friend, get in front of that shark's mouth and let me take a photo. Well, here is squirreling it away. I couldn't figure out exactly what brand of cracker it was chewing on. And then I noticed it had a relative made of wire with a cherry in its mouth. But there was no littering, and that little animal could be fined $219. This way to the hippo. Or watch out for the echidnas or the wombats. I should say wombats and echidnas in Australia. Danger dingoes, wild dogs. I bought this for my grandson some years ago. He liked dingoes. So I found a sign that fit him perfectly. Now, there are all kinds of interesting signs in Australia and in Tasmania. This one, be careful of the penguins coming ashore. This is one of my favorites. This was my brother a few years ago after a turkey dinner. You may know that turkey has a component called tryptophan, which makes you tired if you're sensitive to it. So I got behind a puppet stage that my grandchildren had and photographed him on stage. Can they climb? Well, I saw this summer. There's a father and a son, and I saw this cairn, this pile of rocks that somebody had put together. And I got down and I took a photo because it looked like they were going to climb up the cairn, but they couldn't. This is a well-balanced young man. And then I asked, can cats really do crew? This was on Inlay Lake. Now, would you like a license to drift? Here it is, drift. And here is a little girl on the Saugatuck River with her little dog, which I thought was kind of cute. I chuckled when I saw that. Now, where is the person in the hammock? Why have a hammock if you don't use it? Or maybe the person fell out and just drifted away. Now, this is entitled Siesta Among the Hammocks. I encountered this experience in Guatemala next to a place where they made hammocks. There was this large lawn, and a guy drove his bicycle onto the lawn, put the bicycle down, but he laid down on the grass and fell asleep. So he was taking a siesta among the hammocks. Here's Dora, the explorer, a piñata in Guatemala. And two cute little Tokyoites. I have no idea what they mean, but they're cute. And I chuckled. Now, these are the naked explorers, sculptures at the Melbourne Art Museum in Melbourne, Australia. I couldn't figure out what they were looking for because I never saw anything worth looking at, but they were having a naked good time. These are cone heads at the Tokyo Tower in Japan. And here is Chiquita Banana, has gone bananas at Stu Leonard's in Norwalk, who I happened to notice was on CNN, I believe, or MSNBC this morning. We're happy, so what if the squirrel ate our lunch right after Halloween? Now, question for all of you. Are these boots made for walking? I gathered not. I encountered them on a little restaurant wall, Mount Etna, Sicily. Now, how would you like to have lunch here? I thought we were having a picnic dessert, not a desert. Death Valley, California. Okay, keep off the grass. This was in the most remote, driest area of Australia, in Coober Pedy, which is so hot that people burrow underground to live. They cannot live comfortably on the surface of the land. At 125 degrees, it's just isn't for you. But that happens to be a golf course. They play golf on the sand. And in Death Valley, I encountered this. As I was hiking along, they had to tell me no water. I could see that for myself. Okay, you tell me, is this a trunk show or what? This, I could not figure out what this person was doing in their trunk. It was in a remote area of Australia called the Kakadu National Park in northeastern Australia. So I said, that person better get out of there fast. And it did. This is a sign taking off to check out books on fast checkout in a library. Welcome. This is the road to nowhere. Actually, it's a salt processing area on the south coast of Sicily, Italy. And welcome. Seward Johnson's grounds for sculpture. These are actual full-scale human figures cast in metal and hand painted. This is the entryway. Now, this is a surprise nester. Bird landed on a friend of ours' head because it looked like a nest. Now, these are literally monkeying around. Years ago. And here's something some of you may remember. Yeah, the fishermen on the old mansion clam house in Westport, which is no longer there. And here is my play on words. A friend of mine who was a photographer was up in the Himalayas and went to Ladakh, Ladakh, in the Himalayas. And when he got back, I decided to give him a photograph that joked with his destination. So I went down to the water's edge and I photographed Ladakh. Here, no swimming, not even for fish. Now, would you toast with this now? Myanmar lager beer, not a safe place to go. With the coup that's just taken over. What do I do with these? He asked. Well, here's a suggestion. Face food. This is a political mural in Santiago, Chile, gobbling up competitive politicians, I guess. How would you like that on your car? This way to the dead end. Why would you direct someone to the dead end? That's on Martha's Vineyard. So if you go there, be sure you know where you're going. And here, on the Sturgis Trail, this was the end. It had been there for a long time, and I think if you take this trail, you're barking up the wrong tree. Now, this is the gift of the scorpion that I gifted to a friend of mine without noticing, or without noting, I should say, that I did so. I put it on a tree in his front yard, and several days later, he discovered the scorpion. This is the banana lady in Bagan, Myanmar. She was hawking bananas at a small airport, but she was very well balanced. Now, this guy has a bad hair day. This is an alpaca in Peru. So I think he should go to the hair dude and get it taken care of. This was in Northern Australia, where one day during the season, they celebrate wildflowers at a festival in Perth, the big city on the West Coast. People create the most amazing costumes to parrot the character of unique flowers that grow only in the Perth area. And it's truly amazing what they do. Now, warning, no pets allowed, or people. Why they crossed the people out, I don't know, but that's on Silver Sand State Park right here in Milford, Connecticut. I thought this was kind of funny. Wolf waste disposal? Yeah, in Oregon. Now, this is a tribute to a squatting lion. What's he doing in Cambodia, and why are they giving him credit with a sculpture? Well, maybe he passed this little smoke shop on Martha's Vineyard, Puffin Pass. Maybe that's what he was doing. Well, if he was, this guy got a whiff of it. That stinks. That was in a shop window in Key West, Florida. Great idea for toilet tissue dispenser. Or you could go to the baños. Yeah, for only $300 in Chile. I think that's 30 cents. Hey, it's still in service. A phone booth. When was the last time you saw a phone booth? On Kangaroo Island off the coast of Australia. Now this car has it covered. Total mud over every surface in Iceland. Okay, climb a bus. You prefer not to drive the car? Climb a bus. And here is the Puma bus in Perth, West Australia. That's one big Puma. But if you're in Australia, you got to drive on the left. When I first saw this sign, I chuckled because I had come prepared to drive on the left. Endangered bandicoots. We don't see those in Connecticut, nor these in Guatemala, animals in the road. Chakoti. Now, a llama crossing. Yeah, this is in Wilton, Connecticut. There's a llama farm there. And if you don't like it, get off it. This kangaroo is signing off in the Australia Museum in Sydney, Australia. Now, these two pigs were on the lookout for new people to rent a house on Martha's Vineyard. And we were the renters that year. And these are the guys who welcomed us. Now, this is a giant floating baby. It is a sculpture in Federation Square, a creative arts area in Melbourne, Australia. Look at that space. It's about 3 stories high, and they do all kinds of sculptural exhibitions and participation, arts, performances. It looked too big to float, but it did. Now, notice this. Enter by permit only. Why would you want to enter a sewer? And here, keep out. Well, like who wants to enter anyway? And if you did, beware the snakes. Here's a crabby head. My grandson in the Galapagos Islands. His friend put a Sally Lightfoot crab on his head. Smile, you're on camera. This was in Oregon in a restricted area. So they encouraged you not to enter because you are on camera. How about this? You want to go to the farm? Yeah, the farm, Pacific City, where you can get any kind of cannabis you want at this dispensary. Or prefer the best construction. This is the best. Now, I'm not in front of all of you, but I wonder how many remember the Kaiser Fraser automobile. Well, Kaiser Fraser was in the early 1950s. I remember them, except in private collections. But I saw this on the side of a repair service for cars. So I thought, well, maybe they're still around. How would you like to stay here? Want to check in? This is in Sicily. I'm not sure I'd want to stay at a Hostel Albatross hotel. It's a hostel called Albatross. But I don't know if I'd feel comfortable there. And another New Jersey license plate, Malice. How about Shooters, Coyote Club in Nevada? Or the Art Wino Wine Bar, National Harbor in DC. This one I loved. It's a coffee shop in Oak Bluffs, Martha's Vineyard, open every damn day. Or Bolt Coffee at the RISD Cafe in Providence, Rhode Island. It'll give you a real bolt of energy. Poshnosh, fine foods for all, now in, of all places, northwestern Australia, in a remote area where there's very few opportunities for food. And in Melbourne, Australia, this place is Hot Potatoes. Discount souvenirs and discount varieties of anything you want. Whatever you get, they're hot potatoes. Maybe like the Smoke and Bones rib joint. Or, yeah, you'd prefer this, Hog's Breath Saloon. You get a breath of fresh air there. Now, this is a meal to die for. This is actually a sculpture at Grounds for Sculpture in Hamilton, New Jersey, by that sculptor I mentioned before, Seward Johnson, one of the heirs to the Johnson & Johnson pharmaceutical company. Look closely. There are all kinds of things in that brew. And who's cooking it? Yeah, the witches. That's a witch's brew. These sculptures are about 10 feet tall. I love this. On a little cafe wall, unattended children will be given espresso and a free kitten. Here's a kitten. I would have preferred to have given him this. All these little cuddly stuffed animals. But you probably could find these at Children's University in Australia. This is pooch in a pooch. Pooch in a pouch. I encountered this on a subway in Japan. This woman was carrying this pouch in front of her with this little tiny dog. I think it was a Chihuahua, but it was really cute. I chuckled. but I didn't know how to say, that's cute in Japanese. I photographed this at the Bronx Zoo in New York. And every time I see it, I kind of chuckle because it looks so cute. Now this is entitled Slow Ball on Penfield Beach. So I was walking on the beach and I saw this golf ball. And I said, what's a golf ball doing on a beach? And I went to pick it up and I see it had a snail on it. Well, golf balls go pretty fast. This must have been a really slow ball if a snail was attached to it. So I picked it up and put it on a deteriorating breakwater. Looking out the window at the customers. This is a eyeglass store in New York. I like this. Danger Art. This is the gate entrance to the Mallon collection in Greenwich, a private collection of sculpture. And this one, Swooping Birds. Caution. Swooping birds are found in this area unexpectedly in all places, Sydney, Australia. And then an open air restaurant in Melbourne, Australia. The birds just came in and made themselves at home. These toy polar bears are in a pastry shop window in New York City. I'm not sure I'd want to eat that much pastry. These guys look a little blown over. In Sicily, Italy, super pizza, super pizza, super pizza. They couldn't get enough. Now, in Adelaide, Australia, their trams have signs that warn people they can be dangerous because they're at the same level as the street and the walkways. Traffic can be murder. So they place these near the crosswalks. And it says, if a rhinoceros on a giant skateboard was heading your way, you get out of the way, right? Well, guess what? A tram weighs about the same as 30 rhinos. So it's not something you want to get hit by. Look, listen, be alert around trams because, as they said, whoops, they can be murder. This guy was a tram operator. No, this is posted in the window of a police station in Sydney, Australia. I couldn't believe it. Now, if you're having a bad day, you're depressed, overworked, your job sucks, are you underappreciated? Do you have family problems, money worries? Well, here's the pill for you. Fuck it all. Ask your doctor if it's right for you. Here's another dead end. If you need that pill, you've reached the end. So, butt out. And this is the next destination because you've been very patient. And I wave goodbye to you and thank you for joining me today. And I'm not the only one with my friends. The Queen and the Pope bid you fair adieu as you exit, having experienced visual humor with your eyes wide open. Remember, look in order to see. You may discover something new. Well,
thank you, David. Very nice.
Thank
Very
all
nice.
of you. If
Jay Fisher said this was fun. Got to go now. Thanks. So,
okay. I thank all of you. If anybody has a question, I'm happy to answer. And if you've had enough, I can certainly understand.
I have one question. Were you developing these pictures? Because I feel like some of these were from pre-digital. So were you developing all these pictures beforehand?
A few were, yes.
But now there's digital, you take many, many, many more photos, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I have millions of 35 millimeter slides that I have to scan and discover things from the past to share.
That is a lot
But
of work.
I enjoy looking around and seeing things that surprise me. And when I see some of the things I've shared with you, it makes me happy. So my message is, keep your eyes wide open. You may be surprised. And I thank all of you.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic lecture series. I'm going to Paris in June. I will have my eyes open looking for things to take pictures of.
Excellent. I know you're going to have a great time.
I
And
might climb to the top of Notre Dame and get some good pictures.
don't be crazy and fall into the, you don't want to be insane. You don't want to be insane.
Okay, anybody else have any questions?
How about you, Bernie? Any questions?
There's Bernie.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jerry and Joni, and thank you, Joanne, for joining me. Thank you, Judy, for being so supportive. And Phyllis, good to see you. I can't see other people I know like Laura or Arthur, but thanks again. And all of you stay safe, and who knows what I'll be able to share with you in the future.